Chasing the 20s is proudly partnered with these great companies. Railblazer. Think outside the box. Go to railblazer.com for all your kayak and boating needs. Achigan Brand, the official brand of smallmouth bass. Go to achiganbrand.com and check out all their apparel. Ken's Jigs. Check out Ken's Jigs on Facebook or call 570-850-9153. Kayak Cushion. It's a must for them long days on the water. Go to kayakcushion.com for all your comfort needs. Nekko Baits, the next generation of soft baits. Go to nekkobaits.com and check out all their products. Little Miami Outfitters Elite Rods. Go to littlemiamioutfitters.com and check out all their cool rods. Thanks for joining us tonight, and let's get into the show. Yo, 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 what is up, my river rats? My name is Carlisle Esterly. I am the host of Chasing the 20 Inchers on the Susquehanna River. My co-host Sean will be with us real shortly. Today's episode, where we have Josh Chrenko from Achigan Brand. He'll be joining us soon, and we're going to be talking to him about the Susquehanna River and all the success he had on the Susquehanna River, and talk about his new bait, the Munchie. And we're going to get into some smallmouth talk with him. So we're going to start off the podcast by going through the river levels. Got some of the river levels here. I'm going to show you guys. We'll start off with Harrisburg. Harrisburg right now sitting at 4.50 feet, and it looks like it's kind of on the rise. And that's to be expected with the rain we had today. And then we got Lewisburg. I believe that's the West Branch. It's on the rise. It's sitting at 3.45 feet. So Lewisburg's on the rise. Let's get into the Marietta. Marietta's on the rise. They're sitting at, as of today, 35.5 feet, and they're rising, which is to be expected with all the rain we had today. And then the Towanda, the North Branch, is also on the rise. They're sitting at 1.26 feet. So with that being said, we will get into some of the photos that were sent in this week. We always ask. There's Sean.
Hey guys. Hey, sorry I'm a little bit late.
It's all good, Sean. I was just about to get into the photos that people submit for our group page that we have every podcast, showing off their smallmouth. We're going to start off with Mike. We're going to start off with Mike Reinhold.
Yeah.
And, that's a beautiful smallmouth, but I believe he put in his comments that was not caught on the Susquehanna. But
still a pretty fish.
Yeah, other than that, it's still a pretty fish. We'll get into the next photo here. We got Jake Hausman. Although it's not a smallmouth, he said it was his first fish of 2025. So looks
still
like a pretty
nice spike or muskie.
Beautiful, beautiful muskie out of the Susquehanna. And then we have Alex Goby with a beautiful smallmouth bass.
Nice
definitely a nice fish. And then we got Jonathan Grawwickle. Looks like they doubled up. Like two nice fish. Look like chunky fish there. And then we have Scott Hepner with another beautiful smallmouth bass. Looks like probably 17 and a quarter, something like that. And then we have Kevin Rowland with a tank of a fish.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
That, I believe, he sent me another picture of that same fish on a board, and I think it was 20.5 inches.
Jeez.
So Congratulations on that catch, Kevin. And then we got good old Dex. Dex sending in a photo. Look, you know, that's got to be this past fall, because look at the water clarity in the background.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, look how clear the water is.
We had a really low and clear water event this past summer and fall on the Susquehanna, and it made for some awesome fishing, ain't Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough at times, but it definitely made for it was a learning experience for sure to fish the water when it was that like gin clear.
Yeah, it was. Learned a lot fishing in the clear water for sure. We just want to say thank you to everybody that's sending photos, and we'll just keep doing that. We'll make that our podcast thing that we do every 2 weeks. So thank you guys, and great fish. So what's been going on, Sean? You been fishing at all?
I caught a fish the last day of January, but other than that, I have not caught one. So it has been a drought for me. I've been busy. I have some family stuff going on. Everything hopefully is working out with that, but I am chomping at the bit to get back on the water for sure.
Oh, for sure. I'm sitting here like trying to think the last time I went out, and I'm actually gone insane. I haven't fished in like a month, and I just got a power pole put on my kayak, and I got the new Eagle Eye Lowrance live scope with the Railblazer Hex mount, so I can scope around. I'm like chomping at the bit to get out and fish. The reason for the live scope is not so much for the river, except for like, winter fishing that we do down where we go, the deeper sections. But my plan is we have some lakes on our schedules this year, and I plan to put that into my arsenal. So I'm hoping to get out and learn that a little bit, so I can try to find some fish a little quicker with it.
I think it's going to be a cool tool, and I'm excited to see how that works for you. I mean, you're right. Definitely in the deeper parts where we fish, or where we look for the winter fish, I feel like it's going to be an advantage. I can't see how it couldn't be, but
yeah, I mean, even if I don't know what a fish looks like right away, I can find a lot of structure and stuff with that. See,
right.
Fish Gramps came on and said, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Fishing with Gramps?"
Yeah.
How you doing,
Thanks
buddy?
for joining us.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, so it looks like, as far as all the river levels go, it looks like the river's on the rise, and it's to be expected with all the rain we had today, and probably a lot of ice melting. And here soon we're going to be back on the kayaks out on the river again, I hope.
I hope so. I have Trey at Innovative Sportsman building me an Osprey now, so I'm going back and forth with him on the things that I want to add, and so I'm excited to get that process moving forward too. So lots of things to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm also probably in the next couple weeks here. Look, I'm in the market for a new kayak too. I was looking at the PWR Bonafide. I was going to go with a Hobie, but with everything going on with Hobie, it's just like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, am I going to have the right customer service I need if something goes down on it, like the pedal drive or whatever? It's a lot of money to spend on a kayak that you're not so sure about what's going on with the company.
Right.
I've been fishing out of a SS 127 Bonafide for the last 5 years, and I love it. I'm just looking to upgrade to the PWR, and with all the different mounting plates and stuff they have for rigging that thing, it's a no-brainer for me. And I know for the kayak anglers of Central PA, I'm still going to have to paddle, but I'm going to take that sacrifice just to. I mean, I didn't do so bad last year paddling, so
yeah. I was just going to say that.
to save a couple $1,000 and go with the PWR, it's for our river, it makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, I see Fishing with Gramps is rigging out his new XTR 130 for the lakes, and he's got the Power 129 for his riverboat. So
Both.
that's cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a good arsenal to have.
Absolutely. That XTR 130, that thing is awesome. I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube about it, and it would be so cool to just, you can fit 2 people on it, go out there and have some fun on an XTR, and to be fishing out of that by yourself, that's perfect. That's a perfect lake boat.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're just trying to kill a little time so Josh can get on here, but I do want to talk about Railblazer. Railblazer has been really good to me and Sean over the past month and a half or so. And if you guys never been on their website, they have tons of stuff on their website for kayaks and boats, all different kinds of, like rod holders and phone holders and all, they got just about anything you need to rig out a kayak or a boat. And I wanted to say we have a discount code for them. I think you get 25% off. Yeah, so if you go to their webpage and you decide to purchase something, if you type in Chasing 25s, you will automatically get 25% off. So check them out. I guess while we're at it, we'll shout out some of our sponsors. Ken's Jigs. Ken's Jigs is it's a local guy that makes a lot of jigs and stuff and all different kinds of stuff, blade baits, jigs, weights, all kinds of stuff. And we like to support our local tackle makers. So check out Ken's Jigs on Facebook or call him. You can make a custom order if you want. If he can do it, he'll do it for you. And his prices are very reasonable.
We were just talking to Mickey a little bit before the show. If you guys remember Mickey, we had him on a few weeks ago, and he was saying he ran out of blade baits and just put in an order for a bunch more from Ken. So Ken does blade baits and jigs and all sorts of other cool things, obviously. But yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't gone out with Mickey fishing off the bank, just because I don't want to lose all my jigs and my blade baits and stuff. It's a lot easier to get them back when you can get on the other side of them with a kayak and, pop them out of there.
I have donated a few to the same area that Mickey's talking about, so I definitely know how that goes. I would love to see the bottom of the river there. I imagine it's probably littered.
One of us should probably get our scuba diver's license just to go down there and retrieve everything off the bottom.
We got a Chegan on there. Yeah.
We got a Chegan brand. It's a one-time code for 20% off. Type in Chasing 20s at checkout, and you'll get 20% off of Chegan. So go over there and load up your cart and get that one-time deal there. Little Miami Outfitters. They give us 10% off their fishing rods for protests. They're a custom-made fishing rod company out of Ohio. So go check them out. New one I got for you guys, kayak cushion. Get 15% off. Type in the code Chasing 20s at checkout. You get 15% off. I have him making me a custom kayak cushion. That's another thing you guys can do. If you have a logo, you can get your custom kayak cushion for your kayak. I have the Chasing the 20-incher logo getting put on one right now. So.
And that's anybody who's used them know that's almost a no-brainer if you're going to be spending any amount of time in a kayak seat. That having a kayak cushion saves your backside, your back. It just makes it a lot nicer.
Absolutely. Especially the guys that fish tournaments. You're out there for 8 hours. You want to take care of that tush. What's that? The Eagles, the tush push.
There you go.
We got to take care of that tush.
Larry asked if I was going to keep my Hobie, and the answer is yes. I will be keeping both because I definitely need to be able to pedal. My shoulder isn't going to allow me to paddle an entire tournament, I don't think. So I will keep my Outback for the kayak anglers tournaments so I can pedal around there. but we'll use the Osprey in, any chance I can get. So.
Yeah, that's one thing, like I was talking about getting the PWR. The kayak anglers, they don't allow motors, so
Yeah, that's the, I mean, and kayak anglers, they've talked a lot about, why they do that, and they still consider themselves a smaller trail, and they want to stick with their roots. I have a feeling maybe down the road at some point that might change, but at least for now, that's probably going to stay kind of for at least a little bit as a human powered trail. And I kind of respect that in ways. There are options if you need to, if you are looking for motors. But there's definitely not as many that are human powered anymore. So I kind of like that.
yeah. So Josh just texted me. He thought it was 6:30, so he's gonna be about 5 minutes to get ready. So we'll just talk a little bit longer until he gets in here. I'm sure everybody's excited to hear what we got to ask him and what he's got all about the Susquehanna River. Yeah, it looks like Mickey just commented Ken's working on an order for me. Yep, he sure is. I'll tell you what, Mickey, you're keeping Ken busy.
But there's a reason, because they work, it's just the area that we kind of fish them. It kind of eats blade baits. But that means you're in the right area.
Yeah. So it looks like Mickey's selling a PA 14360 soon. So keep your eye open for that. I'm sure he's going to be posting that on Facebook Market. He loves it, but he has no room
mojo on it. That one has a lot of fish mojo on it for sure.
Absolutely. He catches some tanks. So Sean, are you excited for the season to come around here real soon?
Yeah, I am more than I was just looking at the forecast this week, and it looks like it's going to be, down in single digits again on Wednesday and Thursday. And so I just can't come soon enough. I am so done with the winter weather, and I will be so ready to get out on the water.
Me too.
If anything, for just the stress relief out of everything that we've both been dealing with the last couple of weeks in here. So,
yeah, for sure. What is Mickey saying now? Monday is the day if you can get out. Yeah.
I think the wind might be a little crazy, Mickey. That's the one thing I heard about that.
Oh, next Monday, he's saying.
Oh, next Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. I really can't wait to get out. I will also have a bona fide SS 127 for sale real soon, and super dirt cheap. I mean, the kayak's almost 5 years old. I use it super many times, So I'll be selling that, probably asking for like $1,000 for it or something. I'm gonna put it on Facebook Market, see what happens. That's without the motor, but anyway. We got Josh in the green room, so why don't we bring him in here, John?
All right.
Let me get him to the stage here. Josh, what's going on, buddy?
Not much, boy. Sorry about being late. I literally stepped out of the shower when I saw that text. I was like, "Oh shit!"
You didn't have to get dressed just for us, man.
Oh, I'm not wearing anything from the waist down. It's all right. You guys just don't want me standing up.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Thunder Rod.
So that's my default name on StreamYard. So
yeah,
hopefully that's acceptable.
Hey. So for everybody that's listening, if you don't know Josh Chrenko, he's the 2023 Bassmaster Kayak Series champion on the Susquehanna River, and also owner of Achigan brand. So, Josh, welcome to the show, Chasing the 20s. We focus on the Susquehanna River. That's what we talk about mainly. We do get into some kayak talk, tournament talk, in other areas, but we mainly focus on the Susquehanna River. We just just got done not too long ago talking about the river levels and how the river's gone up because the ice is melting, the rain that we had today, and yeah. So welcome everybody, Josh Chrenko.
What's going on? I definitely am up for some Susky talk. With we got I think probably 3-4 inches of snow today, so it's a little depressing. But I've got to organize my fishing tackle for the first time in like 2 years. So I've had it all out and got everything. I'm in the mindset. So I'm ready to talk some smallmouth.
Nice. Yeah, I think we're all.
I knew you're doing the shows and stuff. Do you? How many more shows you got before you wind that down?
We're done, thankfully.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Although that was really fun. Like, it was a good, especially the last one in Columbus. I mean, it was kind of like, I put a post up on Instagram about it being more like a family reunion than a show, but kind of a culmination of all of our hard work over, I'd say, the past year developing this bait, and then going to Ohio, which for some reason Ohio has this great smallmouth culture, and just a ton of guys got to meet that over the years just met on social media and that sort of thing. Guys that have kind of followed us from day one. So it was super fun. But man, it took me a week to recover, and to be honest, I'm not really even recovered now. So
yeah. But I seen all your posts and pictures. It seemed like that event was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it's a cool expo. I've been to a lot of fishing expos, and I didn't really get to experience that one as a consumer, just going around and checking. I got the very last day on Sunday, it started to die down a little bit, and I took the time to walk around and shake some hands and meet some people at their booths. But I think over the course of the weekend, most people kind of made their way over to our booth at one point in time. So yeah, dude, it was awesome. It was a fun time. So
that's cool. So you got to walk around and check a lot of different things out.
Oh yeah, there was a ton of good stuff out there. It was a sick show for sure.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. How did it feel to win the blue trophy on the Susquehanna River?
Yeah, I mean, it felt awesome. I guess the first, it was just nothing but positive coming from it. I will say, going into that tournament, like, I fish one national tournament a year, if that. I think I've only fished like 3 like big national events, so it's not something I'm like on the road all the time fishing them. I do I like to travel, but a lot of times I'm traveling just to go trophy hunting. I'm not necessarily going out for a tournament. Started to do that a little bit more the last couple of years after winning that. I got the bug, from it. But I went into that tournament and I told my wife beforehand, before I left, I was like, hey, I'm not like trying to predict anything here. Is like, say I'm going to win it. I'm going to have a shot at it, just because I kind of had a game plan. I was out there like a month before that, or a month and a half, something like that, with my dad and my brother, which, by the way, I know Sean lives really close. Carla, how close do you live?
Oh, I'm 15 minutes. 15 minutes I can be on the lower part.
My goodness.
The upper part, it's mainly like an hour to the upper part, like above Harrisburg, but the lower part here down in Wrightsville and what's the other place, Sean, that we fish down there in the wintertime?
Long Level. It's like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I've never fished down that far. I think the furthest I've fished down has been like, there's a huge suspension bridge like upstream of Harrisburg. I can't remember the name of that, but it's like where the Statue of Liberty is.
Oh, that's Fort Hunter.
Yeah, like that's really as far down as I've went. I know that but I mean, the bad part of the river for you guys is like 10 times better than anything I have in my backyard. So, I mean,
We're
but
spoiled.
yeah. But going back to that tournament, I come out here. This is one of the places. It's 9-hour drive for me, so it's a pretty big commitment to come out.
Oh yeah.
And I took my dad had never been here, and I was like, hey, let's go out here. And my brother ended up meeting us later, but I took my jet out here and I was like, hey, we can kind of scoot around a little bit. And it just so happened when we got down here, the river got super blown out, and I like fishing blown out rivers. That's like my favorite time to fish them, especially in the summer. And we had one evening where we had 2 21s and 3 20s in a 3-hour period. And I was like, I mean, it was just, my dad was like going nuts. It was on chatterbaits. Like, he'd never caught a chatterbait fish before, and like was just absolutely beside himself. And then we spent, about 4 days, fishing the river. And I think the Susquehanna is one of those rivers where you kind of have to break it down into sections. It's such a big river. You're never going to unless you live there, you're never really going to intimately know the entire river. You're going to know certain sections of it intimately. And I had spent a lot of my time kind of up in that, Mahantango upstream from there. I really spent the entire time there that year. And I'd went earlier in the spring as well. So I kind of started to piece together some things of like, okay, this is where these fish live. This is where they relate to, and that sort of thing. And being there like about a month, it was like 6 weeks before that tournament, I've started to see them. They were beginning to do that fall thing where they were like just starting to kind of migrate into those places. And, I just knew I had a couple places that we'd fished while we were there. And I was like, man, I bet you those are going to be hot spots. And one of them was really hard to get to. And I was like, if I can figure out a way to get there, like, I'm going to have it all to myself. And that's kind of what happened. I fished same spot for 2 days, and it was crazy. It was wild. But yeah, it was pretty awesome. I have to say.
Yeah. I've listened to probably a couple of podcasts of how you won that tournament and breaking off that muskie and then losing your lure and all that stuff. That's got to be like so nerve-wracking, especially knowing what place you were in and
man. Yeah. Well, I mean, the first day I honestly it was like, you guys have fished tournaments, so like you get in your own head during the day, especially if you're like, you have a bite window where you catch some fish or you lose a fish, which is probably one of the most like heartbreaking things that could possibly, people that don't fish tournaments don't understand. Like, if you lose a big fish in a tournament, it's like this situation that like nothing else compares to. And I was, that tournament, I knew that there were big fish there. I caught a 20-incher and like 2 19s within 20 minutes in the spot in practice. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to fish this. I left it and I wouldn't tell anybody about it. I was like, I'm not, this is where I'm going. And I went back there, but I expected to catch more fish. And I mean, the bites were just so far and few between. Like, I think I caught 7 fish on the first day, like total.
Yeah.
And they were just the big one, they're the right fish, but it was like, I knew there was zero room for error, and I went, I think I went like 3 hours before I caught my 2 hours before I caught my first fish. And in the morning, you're starting to question yourself. You're just like, okay, what, am I doing the right thing? And I mean, it all ended up working out, but I got on a swim bait bite with a bull shad, and I was like, I had, I think 3 of my 5 keepers on it, and it was like, boom, boom, boom. I was like, I'm on them, I'm catching them. They're the right fish. And I hooked in that muskie, and it was like the one time it's like, dude, I do not want to see a fish. and
Mm.
and I was in inflatable too, so it was kind of like this huge muskie's like swimming
Could get a little
underneath me, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, so I was trying to back up to an island and maybe like beach it somehow, and yeah, it just jumped and broke me off. But yeah, switch gears to mag draft, and the rest is history. At least for that day, it muddied up the second day. Like it went from they released that dam,
Yeah. The
the
inflatable dam.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
bringing it down, and there was rain the night before, like quite a bit of rain. So like there was a creek not too far from there that was pumping mud at the end of day one, and the right side of the river was all muddy, but I still had clean water on the left. Well, when I got on the river the second day, it was like chocolate milk. It was like complete chocolate milk, and so I knew from the beginning. I was like, I'm trying to chatterbait. I was thinking about that day when it was flooded, when I was there with my dad.
Yep.
I tied a like it was like a red and black jackhammer on. Dude, I did not put that thing. I did not take that off the entire second day. I threw it probably 1,000 times. I mean, just like chuck and wind, chuck and wind, chuck and wind. And yeah, I had a limit way faster that day. I think I had a limit by like 9:30 or something, which I was compared to the day before where I caught my last fish at like 2. It was like smooth sailing, dude. I was like, oh, I'm in seventh heaven. So
yeah.
yeah.
So Mickey Forbes asked a question. He wants to know how you fish what's in the Susky in the fall versus the summer, which you like better.
Have you had the opportunity to do both?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I definitively like fishing in the summer better. Like I'll take summer bite anytime, and I think the summer is like you're not going to catch as big a fish necessarily, or as like you consistently catch as big a fish because they're just really spread out. But the magic of the Susquehanna is unlocked in the summertime because all those grass islands are in play, at least when it's up enough for them to be in play. If it's like real low in the summertime, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's what we went through this year.
Yeah. But if it's like up, at least, just normal flow, not like flooded or anything, just to where that, those grass islands have, foot of water in them, so it's like you can still see the grass, but it's not totally submerged. It just is such a like unique experience that you kind of can't, I've never experienced anywhere else, just because of the sheer size of the river, the depth, the structure, and then that grass where, those fish do like, not all of them, but, at certain times of the day and, certain fish I mean, it's hard. You can't look at that river and not be like, there's fish on those islands. Like they look so awesome.
They look so juicy. Yeah.
Oh, and there's so many of them. And you start to learn, like, not all of them are created equal. There's certain types of islands you go up to that might look good, from afar, but you get there and like, yeah, this isn't, the drop off's not steep enough, or, there's not enough water in them, or whatever it might be at the time. But yeah, summertime, super cool. Fall is pretty freaking cool too. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, there's not, you
want a blue trophy on it.
Yeah. No doubt. But I said this all along that day, but those 2 days of fishing, especially the second day when the river came up, I did not want to be doing what I was doing. Like, it took everything in me to not move, because I knew when that river came up, those fish would start moving to the front side of those islands and they would be catching them. And, the difference in that tournament like that is like 19 halves and 20s instead of 18 halves and 19s. That's what separates a win from a top 20 finish. And, I knew that, and I knew those fish were there, but like, there's nothing about, like, from a fun standpoint, besides actually catching those fish, that I wasn't catching numbers. It was purely from a tournament standpoint. Any other time, I would not have done that. I would have been out fishing other places. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the fall is cool from the standpoint of, all those big apex fish are like together, and they're kind of predictable. Like, if once you find one, you can find 50. the problem is like they're all together. So like you might go 2 miles of river and not see a single fish over 15 inches, like because they all start heading to those areas that they can corral bait fish in.
Yep.
And you guys live there, so you kind of know like, hey, yeah, this is where they go in the fall. But like if you're new to that river, you might take you a while to find those spots, or you don't recognize them when you get there, and you know that maybe they're not eating at the time, and it's a different ball game. It's rewarding. So if you like catching fewer fish but big fish that are kind of piled up, fall is good. If you just like having a blast and catching them on top water in the middle of the river, like, and I mean, come on now.
I was going to mention that when you said about the islands, I was like, there's something about just running top water right around the front and the backs of those and having to just get hammered that, I don't fish a lot of other places, but I know that's something that makes the Susquehanna special to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not, I mean, there's definitely places like that in other rivers, but not in that mass.
Yeah.
Not with that many smallmouth. It's like this unique, it's a huge river with that much habitat, and the population is amazing with, you guys have, not the biggest river smallmouth I've ever encountered, like on average, but like just the sheer number of 18-inch fish in that river is crazy, dude. Which, dude, if you have an 18-incher hit topwater, like 18, 20, whatever, dude, it's all freaking blast.
So we're going to cut into a 30-second commercial break real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone, to Chasing the 20 Inchers. I got a couple questions written down. So, Josh, how did you get into starting your brand? How did that all come about?
Yeah, man.
How long ago then?
Yeah, so we're in year 4, so I've been an adventure. We had a meeting this morning, and it was a good it was a founders meeting, so just the 3 guys that started it, and we reflected a little bit on kind of just where we've come in the last 3 years, and I mean, the background story of it's basically, I host, those who don't know, I host Smalley Talk podcast, and that was completely organic thing. I was like, dude, I listen to podcasts and there's nobody talking about smallmouth, so I'm gonna start one and start talking about it. And I drive a lot for my job, so I listen to podcasts when I'm driving, and it's a good passive way to sort of take in some entertainment, pass the time.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, so I mean, I got hooked on podcasts with like true crime and stuff that I normally wouldn't even watch, but I was like, dude, this is a great way to, listen to something, or to entertain yourself while you're driving. So I started Smalley Talk, and I knew, I'm an entrepreneur, I'd say, probably in the best and worst sense. If like I'm always thinking of like new stuff that I'm like, oh man, hey, I could do this or do that, but it creates this overload in your mind of like all these like possibilities of stuff you want to do. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a fisherman. Like, I grew up fishing. When I was 5, 6 years old, I was out fishing in my pond in my backyard for hours and hours and hours. That's just like who I am at my core. And my whole life has been centered around fishing, from working at a tackle shop in high school to fishing tournaments. I mean, I had a boat before I had a car, if that tells you anything. So, I mean, that's just who I am. And, I think we all sort of get caught up in like making money, and it's like, oh, hey, we need to need to have this career that produces this income, and then you get a family, and then you get dependent on a mortgage, and then it's like next thing you know, you're doing something that you don't give a shit about, you know? And I was like, man, I want to start something that is emblematic of my love for smallmouth. And, you know, I basically, it was like the easiest way to do that is to sell some smallmouth designs on clothing. And, so I got together with a couple of guys that it was kind of by chance. One of them was my neighbor. We moved in across the street from each other, didn't know him from Adam. And, turned out he was an ecologist for the DNR, and, loved to draw. And we, you know, over a bunch of nights drinking beer around the fire, I found out that he liked to draw. And then, you know, one night I was like, dude, you know, I've been thinking about doing this. Like, would you want to go into business with me? And he's like, hell yeah, dude. And then my brother-in-law, who's also an artist, who it's like probably my next to my brother, my best friend. He also draws. He's the one that tattooed this fish on me. And so I was like, well, if we're going to do this, let's get both of these guys in on it. And they're both good dudes. And yeah, we got together and in my basement one night and like came up with the idea and toiled for a couple months over the name. And, that it was born, you know, Achigan, which for those who don't know it's the Algonquin word for smallmouth. So, you know, we were debating on calling it something like Smalley Brand or, you know, something real straightforward, but I think something that meant a little bit more, had a little bit deeper of a meaning that we could talk about was, more important to us than having something that was just in your face. And, so yeah, we started doing that and did the clothing thing for a while. We started Smalley Games, which is a online sort of board game, I guess you could call it, where you catch fish and submit pictures of the fish to our website to try to beat a board game throughout the season. And we're continuing. We're going on our 4th season of that, so that's been really fun. And then yeah, I think in an effort to make this my job, which is my goal, because I own a medical supply business. It's cool, whatever, it pays the bills, but like I don't give a shit about it. You know, I'm like, we need to do something that we can scale into like a bigger market and put in retail stores. And so we spent this last year from a napkin drawing to producing our first 107 packs of baits. Yeah, we just released our first bait, so that's where we're at. So,
did you see that coming 4 years ago?
No,
not getting into baits.
Yeah.
I didn't know. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about making like, and we still may get in this, but like everything from opening up a smallmouth specific retail, like online retailer, where we had other people's baits that we're selling that, you know, were handpicked for smallmouth. And then we talked about making some rods, which by the way, we will have a line of smallmouth specific rods.
Oh, nice.
Coming out soon. Nobody's had a bronze back since G. Loomis kind of defuncted their bronze back rods. Nobody's built anything for smallmouth. So we got a deal in the works with a really cool domestic US manufactured rod company that's going to make some awesome smallmouth rods that are going to have our logo on them and all kinds of stuff. So that's coming.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, the bait thing is kind of just I think it's like, dude, what do fishermen buy? Like they buy gear and they buy tackle, like, and boats, you know, that's like the 3 things,
True.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, the amount of money I spend on t-shirts that represent fishing is like a pretty small portion of my fishing budget throughout the years. So
I hear you. Yep.
yeah. So, and I mean, dude, the lure thing has been cool because I'm like, we're not going to just like make some bullshit, you know, oh, this lure, you know, just some other versions. Like we're going to make some original stuff that's not out there that like nobody is thinking about right now, and play with like different materials and, you know, do some stuff that I would throw. And that's really what we did, is like we made something that like I was like, hey, I would love for this kind of lure to exist and it doesn't, let's make it. And that's
Yeah.
the Munchie is our first
Yeah.
bait.
Do you have one
Yeah.
there to show?
Yeah, I have a couple here.
Nice.
Actually, I have a couple. You guys want to see some first?
Yeah, we were going to get into that. That was going to be my next question, actually. If you had any sitting there, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are curious about it that haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah. So to kind of give it a little bit of an elevator pitch before I show you guys, it's a 6-inch silicone based fluke style bait. So that's about the best way you can put it. Is
right.
And silicone is not a material that is used widely in the fishing industry. Like there's really only a handful of baits that are being made with silicone, and silicone has the properties of being durable, similar to like a TPE, like a Elastec type of material, but it doesn't float. So, for us, a bait fish imitation, you don't want it to float, you want it to sink. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. This is one of them right here. And you can see, pretty big. I have huge hands, so I
like
hate
the tail.
Yeah. So we made it so that the tail is like super exaggerated. And because that's always something with, flukes and jerk shads and those sort of things that kind of bugged me, is the tails, they always stick together, and when you're working them, you lose that sort of splayed action, that V. And so we made it to where like it would never stick together. Like it's always going to look like that in the water.
Yeah.
This is made of a real stretchy silicone. We've done our original batch was not quite as stretchy because we made them to nose hook, and we wanted a little bit of a stiffer silicone so it glided through the water. So it's more similar to like this. See how that tail is not drooping near as much. Yeah. And it's still elastic, but it's not near as like stretchy. So it's kind of an in between. This is probably more of what we're gonna go. You guys are actually the first ones to see this. This is a 1 of 1 prototype here. So
I love the colors to that one.
Yeah. This is like based off, if you guys ever throw, it's a Jacob Wheeler's spinnerbait accent makes it, called Spring Ding. It's my favorite springtime spinnerbait. I've caught so many 20s on it. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But this is the color. It's like, it's got an orange blade. It's white and chartreuse skirt. And that's just kind of like, so I made this Spring Ding color as like a, little bit
It's
of a
like
tribute
coleslaw.
to that.
It's almost
Yeah,
like coleslaw.
yeah. That would have been a good thing to do. So this one has the belly slot, so you can put like a wide gap swim bait hook in it, or you can even put like just a regular wide gap hook in it. There's a couple things we did. The nose hooked ones, that they have a solid belly. They have mesh in them, so when you nose hook them, the hook pops through a membrane, and basically your hook's never going to come back out of the bait. Which is, if you throw nose hook flukes, like it's super common after one fish that the bait just goes flying in the woods. Yeah. You go to cast it and just so that mesh keeps that barb from coming back through the other side. So we made it that way, and there's actually, you can hook it sideways or up and down. There's 2 pieces of mesh in there. And then another thing we did is kind of cool on the eyes. So for one, nothing sticks to silicone. It's like one of the most difficult materials to get anything to glue to. So we were like, man, I don't want people buying these and the eyes just falling off of them. So we did this kind of a cool system. It's a barbell.
Oh, so, sweet.
Yeah, it's a plastic barbell. Yeah. And you can see we have a molded cavity inside that fits this barbell perfectly. So
does that also help with does it have something to do with the nose hook or no?
No, not really. It's just for eyes. Like, honestly, the barbell gets in the way with the swim bait hooks, because when you're putting that screw lock in there, it wants, so you, like at the beast hooks, I had a beast hook in this. I had to switch out the spring for a smaller one to not hit that. and I don't know, there's different ways to rig them. The belly slot ones, we haven't sold any of them commercially, so we'll
Still working
release.
on it.
Yeah, still working on it. I just want to make sure, and this goes without saying for some people, but Achigan, one of my like biggest like no compromises is like I'm not going to put anything out that I wouldn't buy myself from a quality standpoint and from an originality standpoint. Our clothes, like if you bought any of our clothes, like we don't skimp on like cheap stuff. Like everything we put out is like the night. No, I won't say the nicest. I mean, I don't go get like velour stuff, but it's like it's gonna hold up. You can. It's not the ink's not gonna crack on the shirt. Everything's done with care and precision. And the same thing is with our baits. Like I'm not gonna put something out there that's gonna delaminate or you're going to get 2 fish out of it and be like, man, I spent $30 on these. Like, no, like if I'm going to put it out, if we're going to put it out, it's going to be high quality. And even, sometimes that means we don't make as much margin on it, and that's fine. But, that's our kind of philosophy. So,
yeah, cool. I seen somebody commented, what's everybody's PB smallmouth right here? So, go ahead, Josh. Why don't you start? What's your PB smallmouth?
I caught my personal best in February of last year, so about almost exactly a year ago. It was 22 and a quarter on the dot.
Nice.
5.66. So
was that a Susquehanna fish or no?
No, that's an Indiana Tippecanoe River smallmouth, baby.
Nice.
Yeah. I've that's the first time I broke the 22 barrier. I think up to that point I had like 28 over 21 on my resume, and like I just couldn't break 22. And right before I caught that fish, it was on my buddy's jet boat, and I said, man, I was like, I literally the cast before that I caught 21 and a half, 5 pounds even on the scale.
Nice.
And I was like, I was excited about it, but I was like, man,
another one.
I was like, these fish just must not get over 21 in this river. And he goes, nah. He goes, there's definitely 20, 22s and 23s in here. And no sooner than he said that, dude, I hooked into that, and I was like, oh, this is another big one.
Nice.
We had to get the net again. So yeah, it was awesome day. So what about you guys?
Well,
I'm 21 and a half on the Juniata, so that's my biggest.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm still hunting for a 20, believe it or not.
Okay. This year,
my biggest is 19 and 3/4.
This year, baby.
That's what I'm hoping.
I have no doubt. The amount of time we spend on the river, he's going to get it this year.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Yeah. I know where a couple of them live, so if you want some,
yeah, I just jump in there with a net and grab one.
He was with me when I caught 2 of my 20s this year, so I mean, it's just a matter of time. He just didn't happen to cast where I casted. So
I would be shocked if you put in time this pre-spawn, dude. You'll catch one. I mean, rivers go through different, I guess phases of. It's spawning classes is what it's driven by, but where you have a spawning class that was really good recruitment one year, and then that takes a 20-incher. You're talking 8-9 years before that gets to 20 inches. So like you have to wait a long time, and the Susquehanna right now is better, I think, than definitely I've ever seen it for 20s. Like. Yeah. I've seen it better for 18s, but like for 20s, like this is the year. Probably the next 2 to 3 years are going to be crazy. And I don't know what the spawn looked like last couple years. I don't know if
well, last year we had that big flood in April.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that might have messed it up a little bit, but
oh, I'm sure it messed up some. I mean,
yeah.
They those smallmouth, they're pretty scrappy, as far as it's never going to wipe out a whole class, You
Right.
know, like even when it's, I mean, you know, they go up in those little creeks and tributaries where they can really protect the beds. And like those there's some of them that just will never get blown out because of the protection. So there'll always be recruitment, but you know, the recruitment on how many ever thousands, hundreds of thousands of smallmouth are in there, you know, it can probably vary widely from year to year because realistically, the Susquehanna is a free flowing river. So like it doesn't have a tail race to like protect it from these like torrential floods. Like when it floods, you know,
Oh yeah.
it gets pounded. So,
You see houses floating by.
shoot, man. Yeah. The floods, you know, kind of this fall, winter in the kind of eastern part of the United States. Some crazy. I saw several houses floating down the New River, the James River. So yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were 9 hours away. I thought you were a little closer than that.
I wish, dude. I would. I mean, I've said kind of as a joke, but not really. If when a Chigan kind of gets its legs under us and we can build an HQ, dude, it's going to be on the bank of the Susquehanna, dude.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So are you fishing any events this year on the Susquehanna?
You know, Bassmaster's not going there this year.
Yeah, a lot of the big ones are. Yeah.
Yeah, Hobie's done for at least for right now.
Yeah.
I know Drew's series, they're going to be, I think, are they on the main stem of the Susquehanna?
Yeah, they went a little south this year, I think. For the last year, they did it almost up in the New York line, right?
Yeah, he did it
Carlisle,
way up. Yeah. I did not go to that one of Drew's. I know I'm going to the. Well, I can tell you this: I'm going to be on the Susquehanna the weekend of, or the week of April 20th, I think.
Okay.
Well, that's Easter, so basically the week Tuesday through Saturday of leading up to Easter, I'm going to be on the Susquehanna. So I've been we've been scheming and plotting to get out there for pre-spawn. The last time we went out there was in March last year. We tried to do a spring trip out there, and dude, we got like hammered with. It went from like, you know, it was like 40, 50 degree weather to like 15 to 20 degree weather and like wind and rain and nasty. The water temp dropped 10 degrees in one day. And
welcome to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm doing that right now. Ugh.
Yeah. We caught fish. I mean, we caught trying to think if I caught a 20. I don't think I caught a 20 that trip. That's one of the only times I've been there and not caught one. But caught some 19s and that sort of thing. But it was one of those, it was just the worst timing you could think of. But I mean, springtime's like that. I mean, you have wild swings in weather and but we were thinking March to like catch the early pre-spawn bite, you know, hey, less fish, but maybe some bigger ones. And then the year before that we had went like the last week of April and there was quite a few on beds, which I don't really care to fish for beds. So it was like kind of we're like, oh, we'll kind of go mid-March to this or mid-April this year. So we'll see how that goes. But
nice. Yeah. You ever go up on the Juniana?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially in spring. The Juniata is awesome. It's a little more like my comfort level, like from a size standpoint, which it's honestly, it's bigger than anything we have in Indiana that has smallmouth in it, like quite a bit bigger. But the Susquehanna is like, you know, it's just so monstrous. And like, you have to fish it in a very intentional way of like, almost like a lake, you know, it's like you have to go find out where the fish are hanging out. The Juniata is a little more you can junk fish because it's like it's a river. There's not that many places those fish can go. You know, it's like there's a pool here, there's a riffle here. Susquehanna is like you look across the river and there's like 8 different habitats, and you're like,
ledges,
I mean, which the Juniata is a mini Susquehanna, but it's just way more condensed. So It's easier to break down. When I go with my dad and my brother and we do a kayak float, like that's where I took them there this past year, and they had fun because they didn't have to do the experiment as much as like, which I enjoy that. And that's part of the Susquehanna I really enjoy, but it's, if you don't fish as much as we do, like it's hard to get a skill set to be able to do that. You kind of get lost out there. So yeah.
I mean, I live here and I still haven't fished every section of the Susquehanna. So
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
I know my part by heart, but there's still tons. There's so much river that it's hard to. I'm sure there's people who do know more, but there's a lot of river out there. So
yeah.
Like
you were saying earlier, Josh, about every different area of the Susquehanna being different. It's so true. It's like you're at a different spot when you move.
Yeah, dude. It changes. Like, I mean, it's funny how the Susquehanna is like one of the coolest places on earth. The people that live there, I think a lot of people don't even appreciate it. It's just kind of like there, if you don't fish for smallmouth, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, they call it, it's the river or whatever, and like because they can't pleasure boat it, so your average person isn't like taking advantage of it like it would a big lake,
Right.
And then you have like this like faction of bass fishermen, like serious bass fishermen that travel all over, and you'll like tell them about the Susquehanna. They're like, where's that at? I'm like, let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
Let's keep it that way because
exactly.
Like we don't. Yeah, I mean, and it's a barrier of entry. You can't put a prop boat on it, at least not in most places. There's obviously dammed up sections that can accommodate whatever. But like the good places to fish, like you either have to float it with kayak or like a drift boat or a jet boat, and even a jet boat is, man, I'm puckered up when I'm running that river, dude. It's like it's not for the faint of heart for sure. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think also that you heard the TKS series that's coming, the team kayak series. They're coming up in
we just talked to Gene Jensen. He's running that.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. That actually would be a cool concept. Yeah. So is this the first year for that or second year?
This is the first year. Yeah.
First year. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe you'd be teaming up with Jeff Little. I seen you guys fish the tournament.
Was
that? The kayak
Wisconsin
adventure
River
series, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on the Wisconsin River there, which was that river was like, I fished the Wisconsin River like way further upstream, and you guys should look at that river on the top.
It looks like a cool place. I seen a lot of video of it.
Yeah, it's like if you go on Google Maps and just like look at the satellite view, it's nothing but sand. It's
a lot of sand.
Huge sand, like sandbars everywhere, dude. Huh. And it's like, I was like, oh man, I'm not used to this. And we found them, we patterned them I actually finished way more poorly in that tournament than the fish I actually found. It was like one of those things, dude. I got on a mag draft bite and they were grabbing it and spitting it out. I had so many heartbreakers in that tournament. I mean, I had 95 inches or so just not connect on, but that river is cool though. It would be neat to fish that with Jeff. Jeff's not a huge tournament guy. I had to talk him into fishing that one.
He fished last year. He fished. I was surprised to see him, but he fished the power hour with everybody. Yeah. I think he actually won 1 hour, so he got $1,000 on it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he sure did.
We're gonna have him on the show real soon.
Jeff's a great interview.
Oh,
for the Susquehanna for sure.
I was up for the kayak adventure series on the North Branch up there in Towanda last year, and I didn't know, but he was staying in the room right next to me. Drew Gregory was nice enough to give me a room because of that storm we had. I was staying with all them guys, and I guess he didn't know I was in the next room, and he opened the door at night and came in and was looking around, and I guess he seen me laying in the bed, and And then the next morning we had coffee downstairs in the bar together. We stayed above this like Italian restaurant, but we got a lot of. It was when that hurricane came through up there last year, and it was
that was crazy, dude.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's the guys. I'm buddies with the guy. I think Parker won it.
Yeah, Ryan.
And, yeah, he was telling me about it. He was at the Columbus Expo, and we hung out some, and that was a pretty wild thing. They were like basically charging downriver as fast as they could to stay in front of that muddy water, which was
that's a smart move.
That's a strategy, dude. I can't say that I would have thought to do that, but
No.
I think they did like 17 miles that day or something. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a neat thing. Ryan and Steve Baker both are very good, resourceful river fishermen. I fished with both of those guys, and it doesn't surprise me that they won Team of the Year and all that. So that's sort of I'm like teetering on the idea of like going for that, like fishing enough of those events where I can get some points to do AOY. That would be a fun.
Yeah. They got some awesome prizes for that.
Oh, I know, dude. He got like an electric motorcycle, basically.
Yeah,
it's pretty sick.
They got a bunch of stuff.
I'm a big believer in that. And Drew's a crazy dude. That dude's got ideas out the wazoo. But that tournament series is like, I think is like what kayak fishing is supposed to be about.
And, it is for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he's done a good job of keeping it within like these boundaries that make it still feel like a legit competition. You know, it's not like people are just doing whatever they want, but it also allows you to go explore and like find places that aren't necessarily like you got to work to find. I mean, Ryan went up this Parker when we were at the Wisconsin River. There was this river that flowed into the Wisconsin River called the Duck River, and I was looking at topographic stuff of that, and it was like choked out with like all kinds of weeds and stuff. I would have never thought to go up that river for smallmouth anyways. And like he went up there, and I think it kind of petered out on tournament day, but like he found a bunch of fish up there, and it was it's like you wouldn't have done that in any other tournament.
Well, that's kind of Drew's thing though, right? He's all about finding those little places that you gotta like crawl through, and you know, really the places nobody else finds. So
he likes to get in that skinny water.
Yeah, I know, dude. He's crazy.
He's an animal, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's getting too old to be going in those real crazy places. So I don't know how long he's gonna be able to keep that up. But when Drew does get in a tournament, you know, he like found somewhere out of off the beaten path. Like the dude's not gonna go live scope in the middle of the lake. It's just not gonna do it.
Right.
And he's arguably been the most consistent kayak tournament fisherman of the last 10 years, you know, him and Russ probably, you know, but I mean, like he's done it in a way where and people don't like that, you know, those guys, they don't like, you know, that he went up a river and fished where nobody could fish and, you know, whatever. But like, it just goes to show you that there is another way to do it. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to like go out and fish like a bass boat. You can go out and do it another way. So,
yeah, it's cool.
Can we go back to the Munchie a little bit? I was curious what you throw that on. I saw a video of you working it in the tank at the Columbus show, and I was curious, is that how you usually fish that, or
yeah? So prototyping was interesting. It was really fun. Yeah, I mean, the first fish I caught on that, I was like, oh, holy crap, dude.
That's got to feel awesome.
It works.
That's kind of what it was like. I was like, And I think the very first fish I caught was like a 17. Then I caught a really big, nice 18.5 on it. And I saw it was like a visual take. Like I saw it come out, look at it, and then just boom, just T-bone it. And it was cool. I caught between the months of September and October. Oh, September, October, November. So I had, obviously I didn't fish all the way until the end of November with that style of baits. I think the last trip I took was like the mid-November, but I caught 7 over 20 inches on it in those 2.5 months.
Oh
So
man, I need one.
Yeah, it produces.
How cool would that be?
Yeah,
My first 20 incher on a Munchie.
I mean, the Susky, it's built for the Susky. Like,
Yeah.
guys will catch on to it, like, because there's not very many of them out there right now, but like, especially when we do a weedless version, I do throw a nose hook fluke a lot on the Susquehanna, and it works great. But when the grass is up, I think you'll want a weedless version of it. And the profile of it's just different than everything else. It's like, it's just, people, like I said, they'll catch on. I can't wait to see some guys win tournaments on it.
Well,
But
and then you're gonna get Jeff Little putting a different twist on it and reeling it super fast across the top, and he's gonna be catching them doing that.
He'll probably do some crazy thing with it. I know. But yeah, I mean, as far as what I throw it on, the nose hook one, honestly, prototyping, I threw it all on casting stuff. So I had a 7-foot medium heavy casting setup. So kind of a multi-purpose, casting setup with 30-pound braid to I think I had like a 16-pound fluorocarbon leader. So nothing crazy, but that's the way I was throwing it. I did just buy because it weighs an ounce. So throwing it on anything less than a medium heavy is probably a lot to ask. Just from rod power, you need that medium heavy. And I got a medium heavy spinning setup, which I'm really excited about. It's a X-Pride 7.2 medium heavy spinning on a Vanford, and like I'm pumped to throw that thing. It's like a big bait on spinning gear. It's like, people don't do that very often.
I was just gonna say, you don't hear about that very much.
Yeah,
Well,
so I'm pumped about that. So
now you got to make a Munchie stick.
Oh yeah, baby, we're definitely coming out with
stick.
one of the rods that we have will definitely be to throw a Munchie. But I mean, we got more versions of that coming. Literally this morning, I just pulled out our very first prototype of our 7-inch. So I
could also see the little ones be killer too. Like little crappie ones.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have micro Munchies for sure. Yeah, the Mondo Munchie is gonna be the 7-inch, and it's a line through. So
oh wow, nice.
And it'll have it'll be intended to be used, and we'll probably include it with it, but a frog hook. So it'll have frog hook will be on both sides of that bait.
That's Drew's little little trick that he does with
jerk shad.
Jerk shad.
Yeah, that's partially where I got the idea from. But nobody makes anything that's like built for that, So yeah, we got that cooking, and it looks cool. The 7-inch one, I like pull out the mold. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, dude.
You got some exciting shit going on over there at Achigan.
Yeah, man.
I'm looking forward to the future for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, we'll see. I just want to fish, honestly, at this point. I'm kind of
yeah. It's been like
you guys talk about bass burgers on Smallmouth Talk. Carlisle and I both have it bad right now. We're gonna need to open the Bass Burgers support group, I think.
We do need a Bass Burgers support group, dude. We're all afflicted with Bass Burgers, man. We're on the spectrum of Bass Burgers, no doubt.
We should seriously have like some kind of little online group that we can just at least talk about fishing, like
I know
to get this sickness.
Dude, it is. We need to medicate, dude, because this is it takes over your life. I'm like cabin fever, like big time right now. I'm like, I like fishing in the wintertime. I actually, one of my favorite times to fish, but when it's like this cold and you start getting all the pools iced up, it's like you
Yeah.
can't even go out and do that.
No, it's
Yep.
not even that. It's like we haven't even had we haven't had even a decent day in like, I don't know, 3 weeks. And the days that are decent, the river has too much ice and this and that, you know. So
Well, the pools where those fish are at that's what stays frozen the longest. So I mean, there's like portions. I saw Joe Raymond running Rockproof, and he was like running it up through the ledge, but then he got up and the pool was all still frozen. So I'm like, yeah, that'll be a while before that, you know, completely.
Yeah, that was a cool video. He was running like a little.
There's a lot of those videos that he's getting
300-yard stretch or something.
Yes, I
boat
freaking
stick,
I want a Rockproof so bad, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm yeah, those boats are bad to the bone.
Yeah.
So,
well, we are going on about an hour and 16 minutes. We don't want to keep you too long, Josh. We know you're a busy man. You look like you've been at it with this bait, this new bait and everything. Get some rest, and we appreciate you coming on. You want to do any shout outs to anybody before you get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, as far as you know, if you want to follow any of the things that I do, Smalley Talk podcast, pretty easy to find if you SMALLIE talk. You know, we are really bad about recording, but I would say we try to put out a couple episodes a month. We have one coming here pretty soon, but Achigan brand, ACHIGAN. You guys obviously we're a sponsor of the show, so you know, I think there's a Chasing 20s discount code. Is that correct?
Yep.
20,
yep.
20
It's a one-time code. So you guys load up your carts, use that, take advantage of that code for a one-time deal.
Yep. And we're online at cheganbrand.com. You know, the goal is by 2027 to be in mass retail. So we'll hopefully have that bait, you know, in your local tackle shop, including Susquehanna Fishing Tackle. That's one of my targets to get it in. So hopefully we'll have that, you know, bait and a couple other baits kind of in the retail stores. But in the meantime, we will do online drops of that bait as we make them in-house. And the next drop, I would say, is going to be sometime in mid-March. So you can get some in time for the spring.
I was just going to ask that when we'll be able to get our hands on them. I know I was so bummed when I know it's awesome for you that they went like nuts at the Columbus show, but I was like kind of hoping that maybe there'd be a few left that you were like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, no, we sold every single one out, which was pretty neat. I was pretty pumped about that. But yeah, we'll make them. I would say we'll probably drop a similar amount, you know, probably 100-ish packs of them online here in you know, a month or so. So just if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, that's where you'll see those announcements like, hey, we're doing a drop on this at this time on this day. And yeah, we'll have some crazy colors and fun, you know, combinations. We're not one to be.
I love the colors.
Yeah. We had a pink lemonade one that was similar to the Metro Glide that sold out
which
first.
One sold first? So I was just going to ask you, which one sold out first?
Yeah, that one sold out first, and I'm kicking myself because I only made, I think, like 20 packs of them or something like that. I mean, man, I should have made more. But yeah, we'll have some cool colors and fun, you know, especially for spring. I like throwing colorful stuff in the springtime. So we'll have some like springy colors, and then we'll also have our staples, you know, your whites and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Though I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Josh. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for
sorry for being late. So that's my bad.
Oh, it's all good, man. We got plenty of things to talk about. Thanks for being a supporter of our show, and we look forward to the future, man. We hope you the best, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Tag us on Instagram. I'll repost this episode for you guys. So
sweet.
For sure. Take it easy, Josh.
Yeah. See ya.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, man. I was looking forward to that show for a while, so I'm glad we were able to hook up. And man, I can't wait to try Munchie. I think that's going to be one of my go-tos.
Yeah, I hope we can get our hands on some. It sounds like they're going like hotcakes.
I will definitely be on the lookout. If I see them drop, I'll let you know.
Yeah, for sure. For our local people here or that live around the Susquehanna, I wanted to bring this up real quick. Susquehanna Fish and Tackle is having Cabin Fever March 14th and 15th. So they're going to be running some crazy specials. They're going to have some seminars again with, I think they said they were going to announce who was going to be there this week on their Tackle Talk show. So looking forward to that. Cabin Fever, March 14th and 15th. So check them out. And I want to thank everybody for watching the show tonight. We really appreciate you guys. And we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and can't wait.
Thank you for tuning in to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, for future shows, like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check out our individual channels and accounts too. Want to be a guest on one of our shows and talk of adventures, gear, or products? Contact us. Thank you for watching The Noob Show with Matt Gibson, Chasing the Tide with Dustin Nichols, The Rusty Hook with John Rapp, The River Run with Adam Fraser Pross, May Contain Fishing with Daniel Woodcock, Chasing the 20s with Carlisle Esterly and Sean Lavery, Friday Night Bites with Brian Schiller. Thanks for tuning into the Paddle and Fin Network. Subscribe and always wear your PFD.